2 a.m. and she calls me 'cause I'm still awake. Can you help me unravel my latest mistake? Dropped a stitch about 17 rows behind me. There's no way I can pick it up from where I am. This is so frustrating.
Hello, and welcome to the 17th episode of the Sittin and Knittin podcast. I am your hostess, Dianna. Today is Wednesday, May 15th, 2013, and I am coming to you from sunny Southwest Ohio, where it's about 82 degrees here. So we're enjoying the nice weather. It's beautiful outside. We're supposed to have rain for the next 4 days, but we're thankful for what we have. And thank you for tuning in. You can find me as His Handmaid on Ravelry. I'm also His Handmaid on Clerk and on Twitter. On Twitter, actually, I'm His Handmaid 1, and I am His Handmaid on Instagram. I really don't clerk or Twitter very much, or tweet very much, and usually what you'll see from me on Twitter is pictures that I share on Instagram. I've cut out a lot of my social media. It gives me more knitting time. I don't have a lot of time for extra things, so to consolidate my time, and I had to cut some things out. So I really don't get on Clerk very, very much. The community there is great, but I just don't have time for it. But I am on there occasionally, and I do post when I have a new podcast. So yes, you can find our podcast group on Ravelry. It's the Sittin and Knittin podcast. And we'll just jump right into the show. I don't think that it'll be very long. I'm really trying to be more conscientious about how much of your time I take up. And I mean, I know you can pause it and come back and things like that, but my goal is to keep the show to a half hour, 45 minutes. 45 minutes sounds like too much, but let's get right into it. We will start with our contest. The Array of Sugar and Spice contest closed on Sunday, May 12th, which was Mother's Day. It began on March 13th, which was Araya Hope's birthday. She would have been 12, and it ran through May 12th. And as I continue to podcast, I'll probably have this as an annual knit along. I just think it's a really sweet knit along for this time of the year, and just something I wanted to do in remembrance of Araya. I did knit the baby dress that I showed you a couple of episodes back, and that was all that I got done. But there were 23 entries of some very very cute projects that you all knit for the special girls in your life, and I really appreciate it. I appreciated the chatter. I appreciate the participation and your FOs. And so we have 3 prizes, and I will draw for those 3 prizes now. We're still a small group, so I don't have very many members, and I had, like I said, 23 entries, and if you posted more than one picture, then I entered you in as many times as you posted. There were a couple who posted 3 times, and I think there was one who posted twice, so you did get all those entries in here. I wrote your names down, and if you posted 3 times, your name is in here 3 times, and so I wrote the names down, and I put it in here in our teapot. And we have 3 prizes. And the first prize I'll draw for is for a small project bag donated by the very generous Lois, who is Knitting's My Bag. And you will contact Lois and let her know that you won the contest, and she will let you pick the fabric and the project bag of your choice. And again, I didn't even ask Lois for this contribution. She offered it on her own, And I just think it's very, very kind of her. So I would like to thank you, Lois, for that. So I will dig in, and the winner of the Knitting's My bag is Bunnyfish. Bunnyfish, she just won. Um, she just won in the May share. She won a pattern. And so Bunnyfish, you won a Knitting's My bag. I guess it pays to participate in small groups. You know, you get more of a chance to win. So congratulations. She is a really sweet young lady, and I think I've talked about her before. She has the Bunnyfish podcast, which can be found at bunnyfish.wordpress.com. And so Bunnyfish, congratulations. And our second prize will be a $10 gift certificate from Daisy Knits Etsy shop. Now, I have not talked to Daisy about how to do the gift certificate, but I am actually contributing $10 for you to purchase something out of her shop. I will talk a little bit more about her yarn later. I'm working with it now, and I really, really, really like it. I think it's a great yarn, and so I would like for you to try it. And anybody, not just the winner, but if you all could go over there and just take a look at what she has, I can vouch that it's really, really great yarn. So I will contribute $10 towards whatever towards your purchase. I don't know if she actually has gift certificates, but anyway, here you go. And our second winner is Knitting Mary, and she had 3 entries. So Knitting Mary, I don't know if you can see that. It doesn't look like you can see it, but Knitting Mary, you won the $10 gift certificate to the Daisy Knits Etsy shop. So, and she can also be found at daisyknits.com. So I believe she also has her own website and then the Etsy shop. And our third winner for a $7 or less giftable pattern off of Ravelry is Muriel Pritchett. And she also had 3 entries. So Muriel Pritchett, contact me, and you have won a $7 giftable pattern off of Ravelry. Thank you, everyone. I wish I could give everyone a prize, but I thank everyone for participating and supporting the knit along, and just you had some very cute projects, and I think it was a lot of fun. And it did cheer me up during this time of the season. So Maria's birthday through Mother's Day is it has been a hard time for me the past couple of years. So it was fun. So thank you very much. We will go right into what is out of my hand. So the only FO that I have is the it's called it's a beaded bracelet. I think the official pattern name is a rounded beaded bracelet. I have it on Ravelry, but I got the kit from when I went to the knitting pipeline retreat, and I got the kit from Unique Yarns, which is located in I believe it was in Washington, Illinois. But you can order the kit online from Dianna's Vintage Styles, and I believe she has a website, or you can email her, diannasvintagestyles@gmail.com. But she does have a website, and I think that's linked on my pattern page. And actually what we had to do was, I think I showed this to you a little bit yesterday, we pre-strung the beads. So it was knit on ribbon yarn, and we had 2 strings of beads that we were given, and then we were given the card with the ribbon yarn on it. There, focus it. It's purple. It's not blue like it looks. It's purple. And so we pre-strung the beads, and it was pretty easy. And I can't really remember how we did it. I think we tied the string. It was on the beads were on a thin string, and we tied the string like through a loop. Just made it like a slip knot on here, and we slid the beads on. I believe that's how we did it. I started it at the retreat. They had a class for it. So basically what you do is you would knit one and then slip a bead and knit one. You would cast on the amount of stitches that they said and knit one, slip a bead, knit one, slip a bead. And then you would do the knit and purl for the number of rows they said and bound it off, and it, you know, it's stockinette stitch, so it kind of rolls in, and then you sewed it together, the stockinette stitch together, so it made like a tube. And we attached the clasps on it, and voila. I think I mentioned before, I had thought when I heard about a knit beaded bracelet, I thought it would look more like knitting with beads in it, but it actually looked more like beads. You can see a little bit of the ribbon yarn. So I decided to give it to my mom for a Mother's Day gift. I'm not really a heavy jewel. I don't wear jewelry, but I did want it. I just thought the idea of having a knitted bracelet, knitting with beads on it would be kind of nice. So I'm going to look around for another pattern that's, you know, has more of the knitting to show. So Mom really, really liked it. And here is a picture of my finished object. It's modeled on Journey's wrist. And I don't know if you can see it very well, but it came out really nice. And it is my colors, which is different. The beads are different shades of purple. Here's a picture of the clasp. And I just sewed that on with regular sewing thread. And I stuck it in Mom's card, and she really, really liked it. So that is all that is out of my hands. It wasn't, I liked the end result, but it wasn't the most enjoyable. It got a little fiddly with, you know, it was just kind of fiddly to work with, but I like the end result, and it didn't take that much time. I think start to finish, 2.5 hours tops, and for something really nice like that, Mom really loved it, and so I would recommend it. I would recommend it. So we'll just hop on into what's in my hands. The first thing I'll talk about, in the 2 weeks since I've talked to you, my last episode was called Summer of the Sweater, and if you recall, if you watched it, if you're a first-time viewer, thank you for giving me a shot. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back and bearing with me. My last episode, I talked about this being the summer of the sweater. I have so many sweaters that I wanted to cast on, or I want knit. I love sweaters. I have lots of store-bought sweaters, and I'm just a sweater person, and so I wanted hand knit sweaters that I knit. So I cast on 3 sweaters, each in a different weight of yarn, because I didn't know what to cast on, and I didn't know what I would be in the mood for, and I cast on all the things. I just had startosis. I wanted to start all the things. So my first sweater is knit out of fingering weight yarn, and this is knit out of Cakewalk Yarns, and this is her, she's on Etsy. And this is her HD 8-ply base, and it is 420 yards of 100% superwash merino yarn. And this is what I'm knitting it out of is the Juice Box colorway. And I am knitting the Abigail Carty, which is by Cicely Glowick McDonald, and it is a paid for pattern on Ravelry. I am knitting it on size US4, which is 3.5 millimeter needles. And let's see if there any other information I want to tell you. Well, let me show you how far I've gotten. I have gotten as far as I just divided I just put the sleeves on holders. That's not a good representation of the color. It's more of a wine, kind of juicy grape juice color. So this is not a good representation of the color. but it's the way the pattern is written. It's supposed to show the reverse stockinette. It's the reverse stockinette part of the pattern is supposed to be the right side. She said you can do, you can have the other side if you want to. But I thought for something different, I would go ahead and try to make the reverse. It's like I have to turn my mind backwards, but I'm going to make the reverse stockinette stitch the right side of the pattern. And plus, since I'm not planning on alternating the skeins, I have 3 skeins of this, I thought, with having the outside or the right side with the purl bumps, it would give it a little more character and hopefully hide any yarn variations a little bit more than maybe plain stockinette would. So I have enjoyed this knit. It's a top down raglan, and I don't think I'm giving too much of the pattern away to say for your raglan increases you're supposed to do a purl front and back. I have never done a purl front and back. And the first few rows, I text my friend and I said, oh, I hate purl front and back. I just didn't like it. I couldn't get it. I watched 2 YouTube videos and I just was not understanding how to purl front and back without making a hole. But I ended up getting it, and now I really, really like it. As a matter of fact, I like it so much. It gives a smooth, let's see if you can see that. It's a smooth increase line. I like it so much, I thought I would like to do the increase more on the purl side on my other top down sweaters. I just really, really like it. It did, I had an easier time with it when I switched to my Addy lace. I was using the signature needles, and I got them off of D-Stash. I believe they're supposed to be the middies. I don't have them with me, but on there it had an S on it, so I'm not sure if they're stilettos or not. Maybe it's the middies. I don't know, but anyway, it was easier to do the purl front and back when I switched the needles, and I just liked it better. So I don't know. I really didn't like the cable on the signatures. It was a little too flimsy. Maybe for magic loop I would like it, but for back and forth knitting, it wasn't working for me. So this yarn and this needle is a good combination. And so now I'm just kind of, I'm done with the increases. It's one of the yoga style cardigans where, the front is longer. So I'm just basically on basic stockinette stitch and increase every so many rounds to make the fronts bigger. And then I will, after I get the body done, I will block it and I will pick up the stitches and do the collar and the button bands. I don't think it has buttons, but the finishing bands. And then I will do the sleeves. So that's my plan for it. I only have like 1,260 yards, and I think it calls for like 1,300. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna have enough to finish it, or I don't know how much I'm gonna run out. So I'm gonna do the bands first, and then make the sleeves as long as I can. But I think it'll be comfy. Out of all 3 of the sweaters that I cast on, I kept going to this because of the color. I really, really, really love the color. There might be a little bit of noise because the boys are coming in from outside. The yarn is slightly splitty, and that, I thought it was because it's 8-ply, but maybe not so much. I don't know. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But I expect it when it's blocked to bloom beautifully, and beautiful dyeing. I love the colors, and so I'm really enjoying this knit. I just found myself kept going back to it because my hands just felt like knitting with fingering weight yarn. But I have not touched the 2 pairs of socks I have on the needle. So those have kind of been I haven't touched them in almost a month now, and I'm not sure why, but I just really wanted to work on that sweater. So that's mostly what I've been knitting on. The second sweater I'll talk about real quick is I'm doing the Mr. Green jeans, which is a free free pattern on Knitty, and it is by, I believe, Amy Swanson. Um, and I believe it's by Amy Swanson. And I cast it on out of the pattern. Just one picture of the pattern. Oh, well, it's free, so I don't think I showed you too much. I cast it on in Webb's yarn. It's the Valley Yarns Greenwich base and the shadow colorway, which is, it looks gray there, but to me in person it looks kind of brown. It's called the shadow colorway. And when I had talked to you last time, 2 weeks ago, I think I had just got the cast on and that was all. Well, I haven't knit very much on it. I've probably only knit about 6 rows, maybe. So that's all I've knit on it. My energy has been focused on the other 2 sweaters, and just every time I pick up this worsted weight sweater, my hands just don't feel like working on it right now. I really like the pattern and I will be continuing to work on it, but right now I just was not feeling like working on it. So I got 7 rows done on that. Just looked at the row counter. And the other one that I have cast on is a pattern by Hannah Fettick. This is my 3rd work in progress. And it is the calligraphy cardigan. And I had cast this on once before out of Knit Picks. Their tweed, city tweed DK, and I didn't like how it was turning out. I'm loving working on this pattern. It's just a basic, so far it's just a basic top-down raglan. I am knitting it out of Daisy Knits, who is one of the prizes that we talked about earlier. And again, I would have to stop and dig out her card. I am so sorry, Daisy. I forgot to show your card. But she's on Etsy. Daisy Knits is on Etsy, or you can look her up, daisyknits.com. And this is her nectar base, and it is an 8-ply. And at first, I have been knitting. I've been mostly knitting on the cakewalk yarns. And I was having a lot of trouble with it splitting, and I thought it was because it was 8-ply. But when I was doing my show notes, I see that this Daisy Knits is 8-ply too. And I am telling you, I love this base. It is so wonderful to work with. I was telling a friend of mine, it makes me look like a great knitter because the stitch definition is beautiful. The dyeing is beautiful. This is the Thinking of Mel colorway, which is a gray, and I am using US size 3, which is 3.25 millimeter needles. And I think I had just cast on last time I showed you. So I have gotten the collar, which I think was supposed to be 4 or 4.5 inches of 2x2 ribbing. No, it may have been more. Well, it's a paid for pattern. So anyway, I did the amount of ribbing that they wanted me to do. And I've started on the raglan increasing. See if you can see that stitch definition. You see that? It makes me look like a great knitter. It's just wonderful, beautiful yarn. I'm knitting this with my Hiya, the yarn and the needles and everything. Look at my increases. See if I can show you. They are the make one left, make one right increase. They just look so beautiful, if I must say so myself. And I just love it. It feels so... I like it. I want some more of this yarn in another color. I picked gray. I mean, this gray is beautiful, and I picked gray because I wanted to be able to wear this sweater with lots of different outfits. And the dyeing is beautiful. Everything is beautiful. I love it. So is that all I wanted to tell you about this? I think so. I would highly advise. I don't knit a lot from indie dyers, and especially doing a sweater, but I tell you what, I really like this. It's just beautiful. This base is beautiful, and so it makes me happy. So this is mostly what I'm knitting on now. It goes with me everywhere and it travels with me everywhere. Um, Another uh, work in progress that I am doing a quilt strip. Um, it's kind of secret knitting, so I can't really say a whole lot, but I'm doing a quilt strip. And it's going to be put together, and someone is going to sew together all the quilt strips for um, a knitted Afghan. So it's a jelly roll strip. That's what I was trying to say, a jelly roll strip. So it's going to be 5 by 12, and they wanted a reversible pattern, basket weaves, um, seed stitch, moss stitch, anything, reversible cable, whatever you wanted. So I am doing mine in Cascade Soup 220 Superwash, and I'm doing it in the gray colorway. The colors we were supposed to choose were gray, white, or yellow, I think. And I'm doing it in the gray colorway. I am doing this on size 7 needles. These are the Chalgu needles that I told you I bought last episode. I talked about I bought these for dishcloth knitting. And I just cast on. I have about 3 inches done. This was about 2 hours worth of work. And I'm just doing a basket weave stitch. It's not as dense as I want. For me, my favorite needle to knit worsted weight yarn in, the way that I knit, is a size 6. But since the yarn calls for a size 8, I thought a 7 would give me a nice dense fabric. But, I can see through it a little bit, and that was not kind of what I wanted. But we'll see. I'm going to wash it and block it, and I need to have this mailed off by May 27th. So, these needles they looked sharp to me in the box, but they're a little more blunt than what I thought they would be. But it feels really awkward knitting with straight needles. I don't remember the last time I knit with straight needles. So it's coming along okay. I mean, I enjoy doing it because I'll be happy to contribute to this very sweet person's gift. But it's not a favorite knitting. Just like with the Mr. Green jeans, I'm just not in the mood, I guess, aesthetically for worsted weight yarn right now. The Daisy Knits is a DK weight yarn for the calligraphy. That's a DK weight. So, and that's all that I'm knitting on right now. Like I said, I have not touched my socks. We can jump right into aspirations. I'm still aspiring to a color affection. I won some yarn from Sock Bunny in her Fitness Along Cal, and the colors that I chose, I think I want to use in my color affection. I want to use that with the Quinson Company yarn, and I think I still need to choose a third color, but I'm really, really, really wanting to knit the color affection shawl. So that is what I'm aspiring to. After I get one of these sweaters off the needles, I might cast on for it. And that's in my up and coming queue. Also, a couple episodes ago, I had talked about a test knit that I was doing for Jules Lunder on Ravelry. It's her Anina kimono, and I do plan on I aspire to cast that on this summer too. So that's something else I'm aspiring to. And also, that brings me right over into my goodie bag. I would like to thank Indie Knits for gifting me a pattern. She gifted me the Pull Me Over pattern by Andrea Black, and it was in my queue and on my wish list, and I love this pattern and I can't wait to knit it. Here's a picture of it. So hopefully I can cast that on this winter. Thank you, Indie. I'm sorry, did I say Indie Knits? It's Indie String. She's Indie String on Ravelry. She has a podcast. Right now it's just on YouTube. I don't think it's on Blip yet. It's on YouTube, and it's called the Indie String Podcast, and she has about 8 episodes, and I really enjoyed her podcast. She's a prolific knitter, and I think you should check her out. And so thank you very much for the gift of the pattern. Also, in my goodie bag, I call it in the goodie bag, but I didn't pay for it. It's a free pattern, and it is the Weather hat by Megan Williams. Megan Williams is Just Run It on Ravelry, and she is one of the hostesses of the Stockinette Zombies podcast. You have not seen me knit a lot of hats. I don't know if you've seen me knit any hats since I started podcasting. When I first started knitting 8 years ago, almost 9 years ago, I knit lots and lots of hats. I knit hats and mostly hats and baby sweaters for charity. But I don't wear hats. I used to knit them and give them away, but I don't really wear a lot of hats. But I do enjoy knitting them, and so I think I need to start up back to my charity knitting. Anyway, I think this hat is beautiful. I like the name of the pattern, and it looks like she said it was inspired by her recent unseasonable weather and the weather map symbol for storm fronts, and that's what it looks like, the little zigzags in it. And she offered it for free. So I would say to go check it out. It's a really cute pattern, and if you have not checked out their podcast, it's one of my favorite video podcasts. So I would encourage you to go and support the Stockinette Zombies. So that's what's in my goodie bag. I would also like to say a very special thank you to Nicole, also known as Hot Ass Knitter, and she is the hostess of the Positively Knitting podcast. And she generously donated a prize for our May share contest. I think it was the May share contest. Yes, it was the May share contest. And she donated one of the prizes. So she was the one who sent Bunnyfish her pattern, because Bunnyfish won for that. And so thank you for offering to do that, Nicole, and thank you for your generosity. I really appreciate it. So I just wanted to give her an honorable mention for that. And that was very sweet. Our ASL minute. Seems like we're going by pretty quickly, 32 minutes. For our ASL minute, I wanted to share with you a new sign. It's called, you've probably heard it before, the Kiss Fist sign. And it means that you really enjoy something, or you really, really love it, or it's just you really love it. And so you just kind of kiss your fist like that. You can make the noise or you don't, but you have your fist, make a fist, and you put the back of your fist to your lips, and you just show that you just really love it. And so the other sign that I wanted to show you was weather. And we talked about W. It looks like an English 3. This is a W. So we have two W's on our fingers, and we twist them back and forth. Weather. Weather. And warm. Our weather is warm now, and it hasn't been warm. So the sign for warm, you start at your chin, and you kind of come up out of your mouth. Close fingers at your chin, and you come up. Warm. Warm. So what I wanted to share with you is I love warm weather. So I enjoy the warm weather. And that's what I want to share with you for our ASL minute. If you have any questions about how to do the signs, just let me know. Send me a PM or comment in the thread. So I think we have come to the end of our show. I did one for our knitting circle. I wanted to talk a little bit about Father's Day. Father's Day is coming up, and of course we want to knit for those that we love. And I love my father. He is just very special to me. just like I love my mom. And I think I'm gonna post a picture of my parents in the thread on the group on Ravelry. So I should have done it for mom for Mother's Day, and I forgot to do it. So I might do that, and then a picture of my dad. But anyway, my dad is, I don't know what to knit for him. I want to knit for him. He has asked for a sweater. He's seen me knit for 8 years, and he doesn't say much about it at all. But the last time I was there a couple months ago or 6 weeks ago, he said, "Can you knit me a sweater?" So my dad is 6'4", 200 and something pounds, and I have not knit a man's sweater. I don't think I've knit the only adult sweater. Oh, I have knit a couple adult sweaters. I knit the February lady sweater, and I also knit that test knit, which I can't think of the name of it right now, but it was a pullover. So I do want to look for a sweater to knit for Dad, but I probably won't do that until the fall. But I was trying to think of what I can knit for him. He's really not he doesn't wear hats. I mean, in the winter time, he wears leather ball caps, and but he's a biker. So I'm thinking that I might knit a black uh, towel for him to take and wipe his sweat while he's biking. Something not just 100% cotton, but I was thinking of Knit Picks Cotton, something like that. He does drink coffee. I'm not sure about a cozy. I'm not sure what to knit for him. He's got size 13 feet, and I know he would not wear knitted socks anyway, and I am a super duper slow sock knitter, so socks won't work. So what do you think? What would you knit for your the man in your life? I know what I really need to do for my husband is socks. He wants another pair of socks. This pair that I knit for him, I know it'll be a treat for him. Paula of the Knitting Pipeline at the retreat, she did give a demonstration on how to darn socks. And so I'm excited about that. I forgot to mention that last episode. And I do need to take the time to sit down and darn the socks that I had for him that blew out in the heels. But it would also be nice, and this just came to my mind, to knit him up a pair of socks for Father's Day. He would love that. So the more I think about it, the more I think there's not going to be any more sweater progress after this row. And after I get this podcast ready, I think I'm going to cast on a pair of socks as a surprise for my husband for Father's Day. So appreciate talking to you all about this. And for my dad, if you have any ideas in this episode's thread, share what you are going to knit for the special father in your life, husband, brother, your own father. What are your favorite male knits, especially in June? I know a lot of people like to knit hats and scarves for men, but is that something that you would knit even in June and give as a gift and say, here's a gift that you can't wear for about 5 months or 6 months? What would you knit for your father? So I think that's about it. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode. I appreciate it, and we will talk to you soon.
Just slam it down on the table and walk away madly, 'cause my stitches don't count up and I missed a cable. This yarn's not the size that it says on the label. Now I can't find which repeat I am on. I think I should have a sit down.